In this video, I'm going to go over all the CSS text properties, including font size, font family, color, text transformation, text decoration, all those good things, and we're getting started right now. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's Bjorn from Higher Learning Lab, where we help you code better so you can earn more for yourself, for your clients, and for your business. If it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell notification icon so you're notified when I publish more tutorials for you. With that out of the way, let's get into the text properties over the screen capture. I'll see you there. On the left-hand side, we have quite a large HTML page. It's simple, but it's large, with 9 different text properties set up to illustrate how they work for you. And on the right-hand side is how the page displays. Currently, we have everything set to none, so all we see is the headline. So we're going to activate these sections one by one and go through each of them and explain how they work and how you can apply them to your projects. So the very first one is color. So I'm going to just change this first one to activate it. And so we have this paragraph or a sentence that says change the color of this text. And we do that using the color property, and we can change it to anything you want, really. Any color that can be rendered by a web browser, which is a whole lot of colors, can be applied here. And you can do that using either the word for the color, so you can use the word red. There are over 140 different words that are recognized by modern browsers. Magenta is recognized, gold. So there's all kinds of words. There's 140 different words that are recognized for colors. You can use the hex code, which is usually 6 characters preceded by a hashtag, and you can use RGB colors. So if we go 30, 35, 100 or 102, we're going to get a color of some sort. It looks like a really dark blue, and that is how we can change the color of text. And if we display the next one, let's display this align property. So this is the text align property. And by default, text on browsers in North America and in the Western world in general, they're aligned to the left. So text will always be on the left. And so text align by default is left. If we change text align to center and refresh the page, the text will be centered within the width of the element. In this case, the element is the full page, so the text is centered right in the middle. If we change the text align to right, you guessed it, the text will be on the far right-hand side of the element. And there's another one, justify, but we need a longer paragraph for that to work. So we have a paragraph here, and we have text align. I'm just going to put this back to left. So when we have text align left on this big paragraph, we see that all the text is aligned on the left, and on the right hand side is jagged because all the words don't align. And then if we change this to right, we see that the jagged edge is on the left now, and the right hand side is perfectly aligned. And we can change that to center, and everything is centered. And the fourth one, the one I wanted to illustrate this paragraph, is justify. And if you use justify, you end up having paragraphs like you see in magazines and newspapers, where there's just a perfect edge on the left and a perfect edge on the right. And that's done by increasing the spacing between words. And the next one we have is the decoration element. So what we have is a very simple sentence right here, number 4, and it's telling us to take the underline off of this link. That's the link right here. It's a regular link, and regular links online, they all have underlines, and we can actually remove that underline. And we do that using the text decoration property, which is text-decoration, and we set it to none, set the value to none, and we refresh this page, that link underline is gone. But what you can do, if you want to come back, quite often you want it to come back when someone hovers. So what you do is you copy this CSS rule. After the A, you add hover, and that is a pseudo selector for hover. So when someone hovers on the link, all the declarations in this block will be executed. So we want the text decoration to be changed to underline. Refresh this page. Now when we hover, there is an underline, only when we hover. And you can do things like change the color. Maybe we want it to be red when someone hovers, and we want the font size to be 50 pixels. So now when someone hovers, we get some major changes on this link. In fact, quite annoying changes. Having that text size change would be super annoying. But if we changed it to, let's see, 1.1 em, which just puts it a tiny bit above the default for the page, we see the size increase just a little bit. It's less annoying, but it's still kind of annoying. I still wouldn't recommend you do it. But I just want to show you all the stuff you can apply in the hover pseudo selector that makes stuff only happen when you hover. In fact, the better thing here could be a background color. So if you added a background color of green, that could be much more useful. However, not with this color scheme. Red on green is not super, but you get an idea of what you can do. You can do some pretty cool stuff. So the next one we're going to look at is text transform. And what that does is it allows you, let's just delete this, it allows you to change text from whatever text you have on the page to either be capitalized, so every word is capitalized. You can make it uppercase if it's lowercase. You can make it all lowercase if it's all uppercase. And the way you do that is we use the text transform property. And if we enter a value of uppercase, this number 5 sentence will be completely uppercase now. There we go. And if we change the value to capitalize, we now have every word in that sentence capitalized. If we change it, hang on, first we're going to change it back to default. We see that by default we have the first T capitalized. Now if we add for the value lowercase, this T is now lowercase. And so if the whole sentence was all uppercase, it would all be lowercase now, which is a pretty handy text property to have. And then we have the indent property, which is pretty self-explanatory, but I will show it to you right now anyway. So by default, the text is always aligned left, like I was saying earlier, so it's at the very left of the element. If you want to add an indent to an element or a piece of text, just because you want to, you use the text-indent property, and then you define a number of pixels that you want the indent to be. So in this case, we're going to use 40 pixels, refresh this page, and now the number 6 text is indented by 40 pixels. That can be pretty useful for a lot of things. And then we have, next up is letter spacing. Now letter spacing, as you may have guessed, is the space between letters. So by default, we have letter spacing like this. It's very easy to read, but it's not very visually attractive. So it's not something that you have your eye attracted to. And say you're developing something that needs to fit a specific space and letters have to be bigger, or the space between them has to be bigger, you do that with letter spacing. So we use letter dash spacing, and we type in a pixel amount. So if you add in 10 pixels and we save that, we refresh this page, we've now added 10 pixels between every letter, as well as 10 pixels for the spaces. So whatever size the space was plus 10 pixels now. And that can be handy for a lot of things, and it's good. It's a good property to know. And then we have our line height property, which is also pretty self-explanatory. We have the default line height, as we see in number 8, which is nice and readable. It looks a little cramped, but it's still readable. But if we use line dash height, we can change that height to whatever we want. If we want to have 15 pixels in there, we can put that in as the value, and we see that 15 pixels is actually less than the default value because our line height just shrunk. So let's up this to 25. Refresh the page, and now we have more space in between it. Makes it a little more readable. Use the line height as you see fit. The last very useful text property we're going to look at is called word spacing. And I'm actually going to hide this first one just so we're higher on the page. Okay, so on number 9, we're going to change the word spacing. And what that does, as you probably guessed, is changing the space between the words. So number 7, we change the space between the letters. Now we're going to change the space between the words. And we do that by using the property word-spacing, and we type in whatever value we want, 25 pixels, I like that one. Refresh the page, and now we have 25 pixels of space between each word. And that's all there is to it. So those are 9 text properties that I use a lot. Those are the ones I use most commonly. There are some other ones that are rarely used. After 8 years of doing this, I haven't even used them once. And that might just be because I don't understand their power, but it's more likely that you just don't need them that often. So in this video, we covered how to change the color of your text, the text alignment property, the text decoration property, the text transform property, the text indent property, the letter spacing property, the line height property, and the word spacing property. So that's all the text properties you have available to you. I hope this video helps you. If you haven't done so yet, hit subscribe, then hit the bell icon so you're notified when I publish more tutorials for you. And next up is clicking one of these videos that just popped up on the right. Watch that, learn to code better, and until next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.